Other day at the office. Oh. Millionaire. Absolutely. Yeah, I got into the wrong line of work apparently. Yeah, I know. The grass is always greener, isn't it?
Okay. Guys ready?
Yep.
Okay. Okay. Good afternoon. I'd like to call the Tuesday, March 1st, 2022 meeting of the Moorhead Public Service Commission to order. Commissioner Durand will be participating in this meeting via interactive television from the address located at 3625 22nd Avenue South, Moorhead, Minnesota 56560, which location is open and accessible to the public during the meeting. Customers wishing to address the commission for items that are not on the agenda, please fill out the request to speak form located on the table in the back and give it to the administrative assistant in attendance at the meeting prior to speaking. Customers wishing to address the commission regarding a specific agenda item other than the rate hearings will be given an opportunity during the discussion of that item. Each customer will be given 3 minutes to address the commission. We are here to listen. Any follow-up or feedback will be done by email on anything that cannot be resolved this evening. I'd entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion by Paulson, seconded by McDougall to approve the meeting's agenda. All in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Okay, I'd like to entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
Second.
A motion by McDougall, seconded by Hendrickson to approve the consent agenda. Hendrickson,
Aye.
McDougall,
Aye.
Paulson,
Aye.
Thompson, aye. Duran?
Aye.
Okay, thank you. Customers to be heard or recognitions, Mr. Schmidt?
None at this time, Madam Chair.
Okay. No customers to be heard, I see. So we'll move on to item number 7, old business. Any old business? Seeing none, we'll move on to item number 8, report, City Council.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just a couple things. We approved the, we had a public hearing for the Walker subdivision in Moore's Addition Street last night, improvements, and that's on the north side. And I understand there's going to be cast iron replaced, so pipe, and it's going to take place this summer. So anytime we can replace cast iron, it's a good thing. And the second thing is we did come to a consensus about using for weed killing, and it was a longer discussion, but we did come to a consensus. So we're going to try out some alternative methods, but yeah, I guess we got it done. That's all I have.
Hey, Chuck,
Yes.
can you explain what you mean by alternative methods?
Well, they're looking at more green space, more natural, not herbicides, but natural plants to ward off. There's a lot of questions. I'm not an expert whatsoever, but we had an extension, person from Minnesota Extension explaining what kind of weeds we need to take care of and what kind of weeds are the worst. And Canadian thistle, I guess, are really bad around here. So
Yeah.
we're looking for alternative methods, just like green space, and like I said before, different types of natural plants. And we are going to use some pesticides, but the extension officer said, you know, it was deemed safe and necessary. So, but we're continually working on greener ways to handle the weeds in Moorhead. So it's a good thing. So it's a continual process.
Thank you.
Public Service Commission. General Manager's report, Mr. Schmidt.
Yeah, a couple items in the packet tonight. We've got the state legislative newsletters from both Missouri River Energy Services and Minnesota Municipal Utilities Association. Again, if there's anything of interest in those, Missouri River does a pretty good job of detailing out their, if they support or against or are monitoring or neutral on any type of bills. Again, they provide all the information for all of the members, so Iowa, Minnesota, North Dakota, South Dakota, and then they also note Wyoming as well too, because that's where the Laramie River Station is located. Minnesota Municipal Utilities Association, or MMUA, they've also got some detail in there as well. They did have their legislative rally virtually at the beginning of February, and there's some information in the packet for that as well too. I'm going to have Matt Marks, our project engineer, come up. He's going to give an update on the Missouri River Services time of use rates. And Matt, I'll let you kind of give you a report on where we're at with that in our first 6 months of shadow billing.
Matt Marks, project engineer. So just to kind of explain the time of use rate structure at a real basic level. Similar to the way that like gas prices will fluctuate throughout the year based on different demand, different seasons, the cost of electricity fluctuates actually throughout the day on the greater grid due to how many people are trying to use electricity at the same time compared to what generation resources, power plants, how much electricity is available. The way the cost is passed on to us currently is done by people that have a lot more expertise to essentially take an average and say, this is the cost per kilowatt, this is how much it's going to cost for us to provide that electricity to you. The proposed new rate structure that will go into effect January of 2023 will get a little bit more kind of granular in terms of how much electricity will cost at different times. During the spring and fall months, there will be one cost during times of the day that have intermediate use, and then a lower cost in the off-peak times where there's very little use of electricity. And then during the summer and winter months, there will be 3 levels. The intermediate will be kind of at that average price level. The off-peak times where there's very little use will be at a lower price point. And then during the peak times, particularly right in the morning at the start of the business day and then in the evening, tends to be when a lot of people are either getting up for the day, turning a bunch of things on, or getting home from work. That's when most of the electricity is used. There will be a higher price for electricity, and this is in the cost for electricity that we would be paying to Missouri River Energy. This does not reflect what the customers would be paying to Moorhead Public Service at this point. They have looked based on our energy usage in 2019, which is kind of the last typical year that they could examine before usage was changed radically by the pandemic. And based on that, they've kind of taken a look at that and then looked at the new rate structure with the time of use and estimated that it would be a 0.2% increase to the total power supply costs to Moorhead Public Service, approximately $28,000 in 2023. And then what they started to do July of 2021 was when they sent the power bill, Missouri River Energy's power bill, to Moorhead Public Service. They also included a shadow bill that basically said, if we had time of use rates in effect now, based on your usage, this is what your bill would be. So looking at July through December of 2021, we saw in the summer and winter months, our power bill increased because of that increased rate for the on-peak hours. But then during the shoulder month, or fall in this case, we would actually have a lower power bill based on that. So over those the second half of 2021 was actually a net benefit to us. It would have been $6,800 approximately less of a cost that we would would pay to Missouri River Energy with that time of use rate. Considering that they did estimate a net increase, we will be looking at January through June of this year, and then we'll be able to kind of look at a full 12 months of data to see, on average, how is this going to affect Moorhead Public Service. The reason that they're putting these this new rate structure into effect is really to encourage power use during these off-peak times, especially as we get into the future and look at electric vehicle charging. If a bunch of people are getting home from work right during the peak energy use times and plugging in their electric vehicles, that's going to represent a large spike in the energy usage. So the goal is to kind of encourage power use for those kind of bigger ticket items, washing machines, electric vehicle charging, things like that. Encouraging that to happen during the off-peak hours to basically keep the rates and the availability of the electricity stable. And I'll entertain any questions at this time.
Questions about the report? None? I guess I have a question. So we can expect, I mean, looking at the differences, we can expect to see not change to our disadvantage. Is that what the projection is, or?
Their estimate was actually a small change to the disadvantage where we would pay a little bit more. They've tried to keep it kind of cost neutral, and from the perspective of Missouri River Energy, they're not expecting to see any net change total, but through the various members of Missouri River, some will have a slight increase, some will have a slight decrease. It just kind of depends on the communities and the energy use habits of the residents of those communities.
Right. It looks like these changes are rather insignificant, though, in the big picture.
In the bigger picture, yes,
Okay,
that's correct.
thank you.
Yeah, long-term, as
Right.
if energy prices go up, you could see some adjustments to the rates from year to year, like a typical rate adjustment would have. But again, it's going to be based on fuel costs, market costs, market purchases, things like that.
Right, any other questions? Okay.
Two other items, nothing, they weren't on the agenda, just want to give a verbal update. I did provide a presentation to the Clean Energy Resource Team. It's the Green Steps program, and City of Moorhead is included in that. So I did provide a presentation to them a couple weeks ago. It was regarding Moorhead Public Services Renewable Program, and then Missouri River's inclusion in that, and what their portfolio looks like, as well as our Bright Energy Choices Net Zero initiative for all of the City of Moorhead as well too. So just wanted to give you an update on that. And then of course, as we get further into closer to spring, the flood outlook continues to adjust. Roughly 50% probability of hitting 33.7 feet. Again, that's low major flooding in the FM area. Again, the temperature outlook for the next few weeks is not above freezing, so that increases the chances of a flood event again this year. City staff are working on the flood plan like normal, and we just received that this afternoon to look at all the steps. That includes Moorhead Public Services action items as well too. So that is all I have.
Item number 10, reject bid for 13th and 13th and a half Street North.
Sure. I'm going to have Jake Long, our water distribution supervisor, come up and speak to this project and the request to reject the bids, and he can explain our plans and process to move forward. Go ahead, Jake.
Thank you, Jake Long, water distribution supervisor. Travis mentioned the item in front of you is in regards to rejecting the bid for the Moorhead Public Service 13th and 13th and a half Street North Water Main Replacement Project, and to consider alternate methods to complete the project. On January 18th, the commission approved specs and authorized bids for this project, and on February 16th, bids were opened. This project was proposed to replace approximately 1,200 feet of 6-inch cast iron pipe. As you can see in the packet, MPS received one qualified bid. That was approximately a 53% increase over the engineer's estimate. MPS staff and the engineer had already incorporated a substantial price increase into the engineer's estimate, and with the bid still coming back substantially higher. It's also important to note that the City of Moorhead CIP projects and other similar projects in the metro area have also seen substantial price increases so far this bidding season, excuse me. We internally and with our engineer, we've discussed 3 alternative options to consider to complete this project. As Commissioner Hendrickson just mentioned, the Walker and Moore, that was just passed last night. So we do have some alternative options. One being MPS to self-perform the project with our own in-house crews. For it, the second option is for MPS to request labor-only quotes. And then third option would be to eliminate or more so restructure our replacement schedule for 2022. As I mentioned, this is a coordinated project with the City of Moorhead, so there's a little bit further discussion and coordination to take place over the next month or so to determine the best possible option. Again, with the possibility of increased bids over the entire 22 project schedule for the city CIP and our Moorhead Public Service water main replacement project, we'll continue to discuss and possibly reevaluate other projects to fit the 2022 budget. So with that being said, due to the lack of bids received and the sole bid well exceeding the engineer's estimate, it is recommended that the Moorhead Public Service Commission reject all bids and considered alternate methods to complete this project. At this time, I'd ask if any commissioners have any questions.
Questions for Jake? Yes.
Madam Chair. Jake, could you just clarify, so this is coordinated with the City of Moorhead. Are they planning on doing a street replacement project on these 2 streets?
Yep, so that project that got awarded last night, or at the last city council, last night's meeting, sounds like they awarded that bid. So it's pretty early in our bidding season yet for the city's projects, so I think that is the only one they've had come back so far. So that one did get awarded, so of course we want to make sure we can get the cast iron replaced in this one for sure. So we got a couple meetings coming up to kind of go over and discuss, as these future projects get bidded out, what's it going to look like with the price, and possibly have to restructure our schedule. But this is one that for sure, since it's been awarded, we want to find a way to get that pipe replaced.
Yeah, so my suggestion, Madam Chair, is let the staff figure out what the best way is to implement the replacement. I would not be in favor of not replacing these while the city has the streets open and they're actively working in the area. I think you definitely get savings if we can do it in conjunction with the city. And the pipe has to be replaced. It can't continue to stay there much longer. So whether it's using MPS own labor force or bidding out labor or doing some other option, I think our staff's probably in the best position to determine what the most cost-effective method is. But I would be in favor of continuing to look for the least cost alternative to work with the city to replace the cast iron pipe this season.
Yeah, I did have a conversation with Bob Zimmerman and Tom Trowbridge yesterday and today, just talking a little bit about this. And yeah, they're looking at their full plan for the year. They're concerned about the budgets as well too, with price increases as they are. So they might push one off, and that won't be the project that was approved last night, of course. So which would then help us because we wouldn't have to do that project at the same time too. So pretty much every project that we're doing in 2022 has a city plan project with it.
And Travis and Jake, would it make any sense for the city to also bid the water main replacement with their street project as an alternate and just see if there's additional bids that could come in, maybe with a larger overall project? Might be an option. And
Yeah.
since the plan's already done, it might be easy to incorporate that option into the street project. I don't know.
Yeah, we have discussed that a little bit, and we're gonna continue that discussion as well. Bidding kind of happened right at the same time for this one, so it wasn't a great option to add it as an addendum onto that
Sure.
project. But we are doing a similar project on, that we're gonna be, the water main is included in the city's plans, so we'll see where we come back on that one as well.
Yeah, I apologize. This one's already been bid and accepted by the city, so it's probably a little too late to include
Yeah.
it in there. But you could maybe certainly engage the contractor that got the city project and see if they could give you a quote that would be less or consistent with what the engineer's estimate was. But
Yep, and I think that'll be kind of included in our second or one of our options, not in any particular order, but the labor-only quotes, where MPS would purchase the material and ask for
Madam Chair, I'd like to maybe make a motion that staff continue to move towards replacing these pipes this season and continuing to work with the city to find the lowest cost option, and then maybe bringing back to us a recommendation once something's been worked out.
Okay, thank you for your motion. Is that seconded?
I'll second that.
Okay. I have the motion by Paulson and seconded by Hendrickson to continue to work on the 13 and 13 and a half Street North project and bring that back to the commission for further review. Hendrickson,
Yes.
McDougal,
Yes.
Paulson,
Yes.
Durand,
Yes.
Thompson, yes. Item number 11.
Sorry, Madam Chair, I should have also had in my motion that we reject the bids because we need to formally do that as well. So
All right, so we have another.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
do you want us to bring it back if we need to rebid it, or, and just let staff work on the other pieces? Because I don't know if we would have to bring it back unless it meets a threshold of bidding requirements.
Of the requirements,
Yeah.
yeah. Fiscal,
Okay, so bring it back
right.
if necessary.
So let's start this over again. I don't think, I don't know how to rescind a motion or a past resolution. We have the resolution in place, and then we can entertain a second resolution, which will clarify the one that we just passed, or not.
That sounds fine.
Okay, we'll do it
Okay.
that way.
Yep.
So, Mr. Paulson, do you want to continue on with that, or?
yes. So my motion will be to reject the bid tonight and direct city staff to continue to try to find a way within the proposed project budget to replace the pipes this year. I think that would cover it, right, Travis?
Unless having to bring it back to the commission.
Yeah, unless they have to bring it back to the commission because it's over budget.
Great. Second?
I'll second again.
Okay, thank you. So we have a motion by Paulson, seconded by Hendrickson, on the 13th and 13th and a half Street North project, rejecting the bid and continuing to allow staff to pursue that project. Any discussion? Yes, Mr. Hendrickson.
Yeah, I have a quick question. Thank you, Madam Chair. When you get this out of the way, when you when you say in-house, what ramifications are there if we do it in-house? Is it just taking, what are the, and this might be going down a rabbit hole, but what are the pros and cons of doing it in-house?
Well, Moorhead Public Service internal staff, we replace approximately, a mile of cast iron each year. So when we get past, there's only so much that we can do internally a year, project scheduling wise. So with the option of doing it in-house, we would possibly hire a couple seasonal employees and then contract out trucking or something like that to offset some of our staff time. So the pros and cons is we just don't have enough MPS staff to complete as much water main replacement that we do each year. So that's where we have to contract out a certain amount.
Thanks. Just curious. So.
So there'd be a lot of staff time too in the coordination of those efforts, right? So it's, I mean, if we do it in-house, there's the coordinating aspect of it.
Yeah, there'll be a little more coordinating with it, and it'd be more MPS staff labor.
Any other questions? Okay, we have a motion. It's been seconded. Roll call will be Hendrickson,
Yes.
McDougal,
Yes.
Paulson,
Yes.
Duran,
Yes.
Thompson, yes. Okay. Item number 11, resolution and request to mayor and Moorhead City Council to approve bond sale. Mr. Schmidt.
Sure. I'll start with this, and I'll have Mark Moylan, our controller, come up and speak to this as well. Again, this is for a resolution for tax exempt financing, and then I have the mayor and city council as well approve this as well too. Again, this is for bonding for about roughly $17 million. That could adjust as well too as we continue on with the design phase of this project. This is for a project down at the Moorhead DOE substation regarding the reactor project and substation upgrades that has been requested through WAPA/Southwest Power Pool and Missouri River Energy Services. Again, Mark, I'll let you kind of explain the details behind the requirement for this resolution and the request to the mayor and city council.
Okay, thank you, Travis. Members of the commission. What this is it's a formality that we're doing in advance of the project. The project will probably commence with material acquisition and design work this year. Our goal is to possibly coordinate with the city's bonding process and bond in either 2023 or 2024 for the whole project. What this resolution will do, it'll allow us to reimburse ourselves because we're going to use reserves initially to purchase the materials, do the initial planning, and then once we do bond, this resolution will allow us to reimburse ourselves to replenish reserves as necessary. These projects were in our overall budget that was completed in fourth quarter of 2021 and approved in December. So these are known items. The only thing that's a little unknown, as Travis indicated, is the final pricing is still up for grabs because of the issues that we're encountering on the water side too. The materials and labor may be higher than anticipated. We do have recent bids or recent estimates that were completed, and we feel that the 17.1 million is fairly adequate at this time. So at this point, I just open for questions.
Questions? I guess not. I guess I don't have any questions either. Thanks,
Okay.
Mark.
Thank you.
The other thing I was going to say is that they are still working through the design, so there has been a couple requested changes from WAPA. We got to wait and find out if those considerations will get approved or not as well. That could see an increase of about an additional $2 million of the project. But again, this project is an ATR, or annual transmission revenue recapture funded project, so a majority of the costs will be recovered through our transmission revenue that we receive on an annual basis and should not impact the overall rates of Moorhead Public Service. So you should not see a rate increase. Again, it all depends on how everything is finalized.
I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion by Hendrickson, seconded by Mike Dougal, to approve the resolution and request to Mayor and Moorhead City Council to approve bond sale. Discussion? Seeing none. Hendrickson,
Yes.
McDougal,
Yes.
Paulson,
Yes.
Duran,
Yes.
Thompson, yes. Any need to close for executive session?
Not this evening.
Not this evening. Our next meeting is scheduled for March 15th, 2022, in 2 weeks. And the meeting after that's April 5th, 2022, if necessary. Entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All in favor?
All right.
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you for coming. Meeting's adjourned.